Hi, Richard. Richard, I'm testing, testing, testing.
Mic test. Are you able to see me?
I'm seeing you are beautiful. You're able to see me
Am
too,
I
eh?
visible?
Yes, you are.
Am I
Very,
audible?
very.
Ah,
Am I
great, great, great,
am I
great. You're
audivisible?
also looking beautiful.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd match me
Ah,
in
you're also looking beautiful.
Thank you, Richard.
You got unganiambia.
I thought it is common knowledge. Anyway, good to see you.
Next time I'll use my sixth sense. Next
Sawa
time
sawa
I'll use my
kabisa.
sixth sense.
Sawa sawa kabisa.
So
Okay,
let's
let's.
wait for Juliana to give us the host.
I,
Let me check
I
again. I
think
wanted to put
she
up
has
the
done
yes,
that.
it's now okay.
Done that, yes.
Yeah,
So,
she has.
mm,
Are you able to put it from your side? Just a minute.
I
Just
believe
a
I can.
minute. I don't know why I'm not. Let me open that presentation again.
Mm,
Inakuja ikipotea.
okay. Do you want it on full slide?
Yes. By the way, can you do that for me,
Let me see. Let me
please?
see.
Because I don't know what's happening with my machine.
The,
Naifungua
the
ina.
problem
Uh,
will be that if I do that, then I may not be able to see the chart. I'll have to keep coming out. Eh?
Roger. Okay,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
try again. Let me
All
try
right, Sam.
again.
All right, Sam.
Uh, let me try again. I don't know why from my end.
Hmm.
Oh, it's opening. It's
It's
opening. It's
opening. Ah,
opening.
super, super.
It's opening. So it's exactly 4.
Hmm.
Heavenly Father. I guess you may project it from your end.
Hmm.
I don't know why either my PowerPoint is there, but
Let me see. Let
it's
me see if I
stressing
can do
me.
that. Let me see if I can do
It's testing my emotional intelligence.
that. So it will depend on how you respond to those emotions, eh?
Okay.
Richard. Let me see. Are you able to see that?
Yes, I'm able to see it.
Okay. Let me see what that means for me.
Now, I will remove it. I try again.
Okay.
Remove yours. I try again. Yeah.
All right.
So that. Yes. Now I think I can. Great. You able to see?
It's coming through. Yeah, beautiful.
It has, eh?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Si tuko sawa sasa.
Yeah, we're great. We're good. I can see we have about 21 participants logged on.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I suggest we give it about 5 or so minutes,
Okay.
and then we review from there. Should have had some background music, Richard. Richard, I'm not hearing you. Are you saying something?
I can see there was one participant by the name Rehab who had raised her hand.
Okay, okay. There are several, by the way.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's an error. Let's
Yes,
purpose to start by 10 past, Richard. What do you think?
that's okay.
Let
That's
it, yeah.
fine.
All right, all right.
Yeah, that's
Richard, my clock says 10 past 4. Maybe you can put up the presentation
Okay,
as we continue.
right.
Thank you.
Able to see it?
It's coming through. I'll just wait. Okay, I
Oh,
can
no.
see it. Right. I'm able to see it.
Right.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's presentation on emotional intelligence. My name is Lorna Tumbo, and I'll be your moderator for today. This event is sponsored by Amani Counselling Center and Training Institute, also known as ACCTI or ACTI. And a little bit about Amani. Amani is a counseling and training institute, primarily started off to help people who are struggling with psychological or emotional needs, but has since progressed to doing training for counselors, professional counselors, and also for social work and community helpers, and also for counseling supervision. We also do a lot of community trauma response where we respond to issues of maybe national disaster or just debriefing. Part of Amani also does what we call the outreach program, and that is where we handle the employee assistance programs, and it is done either physically, the traditional way, or we can actually handle this through the online platform as COVID has dictated these days. So feel welcome. Just a few rules as we interact during the event. Kindly encouraging you to use the chat during the webinar. You can raise your hand to ask questions or post the questions and comments on the chat mode, and we will be addressing them as we go. Please feel free to also challenge some of the things that we say to you. We will be happy to respond. As we move on, kindly let's keep our mics on mute unless you're speaking. As I said earlier, also just raise your hand to alert us if there are any issues that are burning. And let us continue to maintain our camera on off mode, again, unless you're speaking. We hope that you will be able to follow us on our various platforms, the Facebook, the Twitter, and even Instagram, and we'll be sharing those details with you as we continue with the program. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce our featured speaker, Richard Wafula, who is a practicing counseling psychologist and currently also wearing a different cap at ACCTI. He manages the CBD office, and therefore, if you were to walk in there, you will find him at our CBD office. Richard has hosted several webinars and also champions the cause of mental health issues. He's very passionate about it. However, today he'll be presenting a topic on emotional intelligence, which will help us understand how to deal with our emotions, particularly during this COVID pandemic. And so, allow me to welcome Richard to take us through the next course of our presentation. Karibu sana, Richard.
Thank you, Lorna. Good afternoon, or is it evening, to all those who are joining us in this webinar. I hope I am audible enough. I hope I'm clearer enough for us to be able to follow through this webinar, courtesy of Amani Counselling Center and Training Institute. This is just among the many monthly webinars that we will be hosting on different topics, and we continue asking that you join even as we learn together. And therefore, I'm glad to present to us this topic, emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. And even before I get to my presentation, allow me to say that a number of times we confuse the word emotional intelligence with intellectual quotient, IQ. Quite some difference there about. We'll be looking at what is emotional intelligence, but also we'll be talking about the attributes of emotional intelligence and how emotional intelligence affect our life on a day to day. We'll also be looking at, therefore, how do you, improve on your emotional intelligence, and how is it helpful for you and me, especially during this period. Um, so allow me to start with this quote. Allow me to start with this quote. When awareness is brought to an emotion, I really like this quote, by the way. When awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. Many a times, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves in emotional state that we do not even understand ourselves, how we have gotten ourselves into that emotional state. Many a times we find ourselves either sad or happy, and we are not really aware of how have we gotten ourselves into that. But this gentleman, Robson, reminds us that when awareness is brought into our emotion, then our life becomes even more powerful. Then our lives become more powerful. And that is what we'll be talking about this evening or this afternoon. How, therefore, do we bring this awareness into our emotions? If there's anything good, is to be emotionally in control. Yeah? If you're emotionally in control. Somebody is, can we all mute, please? Can we mute all of us? Lona, somebody has not muted himself. I can hear some echo from the background.
I'm trying to wonder, could it be my side? Just hold on.
Yeah, there we are. Good. Please, let's all remain mute. Unless you have something to say, we shall give you an opportunity. Okay. So what is emotional intelligence? We'll be talking about these 4 components: understanding your emotion, okay, using your emotion, perceiving your emotions, and of course, managing your emotion. I invite all of us, as we begin this presentation, to take a reflection of themselves. Are you aware of your emotions? Do you understand your emotions? How are you using your emotions? How are you perceiving your emotions? And how are you managing your emotions? That will ideally complete our topic, emotional intelligence. Are you aware of your emotions? And are you aware of how you're using your emotions? How are you using your emotions? How are you perceiving your emotions? And how are you managing your emotions? 4 critical aspects of our emotion that will, of course, inform our emotional intelligence. Okay? When someone tells you that you're not emotionally intelligent, perhaps this person is telling you that you don't understand your emotions, that you don't know how to use your emotions, that you don't know rather your perceptions of your emotions, and perhaps you also are not managing your emotions very well. And therefore, what is emotional intelligence? What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient, EQ, is the ability to understand, okay, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress. I want to remain there for a second. Ability to understand, okay? And therefore, I still want to invite you to really take a reflection. Ability to understand your emotions, use your emotions, and manage your emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, and of course, overcome challenges and diffuse conflicts. Okay? We are in a pandemic season where a number of things have changed that have impacted our mental health. And therefore, for us to continue dealing, overcoming with the challenges that have been occasioned by this pandemic, it's important to understand our emotions. It's important to use our emotions positively. It's important for us to manage our emotions positively. This will make us, therefore, be able to deal with our stresses that have been occasioned by this pandemic. This will, therefore, help us to communicate effectively with other people around us. This will help us to empathize with others. And of course, this will help us to overcome challenges and diffuse conflicts. That is emotional intelligence. So why is emotional intelligence so important? Why is emotional intelligence so important? Number one, emotional intelligence helps you to build stronger relationships, okay? Because then you're able to empathize with others, you're able to use your emotions very well, you're able to manage your emotions very well. And therefore, emotional intelligence helps you build stronger relationships. Being more emotionally intelligent, being more emotionally intelligent helps you to succeed at school, helps you to succeed at your workplace, and helps you to achieve your career and personal goals. Okay? Very important. Again, being more emotionally intelligent or aware, it can also help you to connect with your feelings, turn intention into action. Sometimes you're just we remain at the intention stage for so long. But of course, if you're emotionally intelligent, it helps you to turn your intention into action and of course, make informed decision about matters most to you. These are just some of the importance of emotionally intelligence. And I'm sure you want to, be more aware of your emotions and know how to use your emotions, by the way. I don't know whether you know what informs your sadness, what informs your happiness. And when you're sad, how do you choose to use that feeling of sadness? Okay. Many a times we get into different emotions and we find ourselves regretting later on. Why did I do that? Oh my God, is it me who said this? Is it me who did this? That just tells you that perhaps your management of your emotions is still not up to date. Okay. Attributes of emotional intelligence. There are 4 key attributes of emotional intelligence. Allow me to go through these attributes of emotional intelligence. Number 1, self-management. Okay, very important. And these are common terms, self-management. But have you ever asked yourself, by the way, how am I managing myself? If I was to rate in a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the least and 10 being the highest, in terms of your self-management, what would be your score? But what is self-management in the first place, even before you rate yourself? So in this regard, we are saying that you are able to control your impulsive feelings and behaviors, okay? The difference between one who's annoyed and chooses to actually deal with that, what has annoyed him or her in a positive way, is the fact that this person is able to control his or her feelings. Otherwise, you have had other people, ask yourself, but how many times have you been angry? Allow me to use that. How many times have you been angry in your life? And what did you do when you're angry? What are some of the behaviors? What are some of the things that you say when you're angry? What is the difference between you who did not go ahead and perhaps injure physically the other person who may have annoyed you, make you feel annoyed, and the other person who decided to handle it in a different way that he or she did not land himself into trouble? So self-management is critical in as much as emotional intelligence is concerned. Able to manage your emotions in healthy ways, and of course to take initiative, follow through on commitments, and adapt to changing circumstances. And therefore, as you're listening to my presentation, and as I've invited you to actually just take an assessment of yourself, it will be important to ask, by the way, do I need help? Do I need help as a person in terms of my self-management, and especially to do with my emotions? You can reach out to counselors, reach out to psychologists, walk to our offices and be able to just say, I want to be able to get to manage my emotions better. I want to get to be aware of my emotions, and I want to get to know how to use my emotions. Okay. The other attribute of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. And in this, you recognize your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behavior. You know your strengths and weaknesses, and you have self-confidence. But importantly, allow me to go back to the first line. You are recognizing your own. You're not recognizing your neighbor's emotions. You're not recognizing your spouse's emotions. Many a times you keep telling those people known to us around us, oh, kazi yako ni kasirika, kazi yako ni furahia. But do you even take a minute and ask, by the way, am I aware of, if I'm aware of my own emotions, am I also aware of how, okay? That is very, very critical in as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. So being aware of your own emotions, recognizing your own emotions, and of course, going further by understanding how these emotions affect your thoughts and behavior. And of course, going further to know your strengths and weakness and have self-confidence in relation to your own emotions. Okay. The third attribute is social awareness. So I've said there are 4 key attributes of emotional intelligence: self-management, self-awareness, and now I'm talking about social awareness. And this is where you have empathy. Empathy is simply placing yourself in the shoe of the other person. Okay. You can understand the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people. By the way, it's difficult sometimes to manage your own emotions if you cannot empathize with others who are around you. And what therefore do you do when, for example, a friend, a sibling, a spouse, a colleague at work is exhibiting some of the emotions, sometimes very negative? I know as human beings, sometimes we jump into conclusion, anajifanya analia, kwani yeye ni mtoto mdogo. There are those, I've heard people say, stop crying, are you a small child? When you hear somebody talk like that, this person has not empathized. He or she has no social awareness in relation to emotional intelligence. And therefore, you empathize, and in empathizing, you understand the emotions, you understand the needs, and you understand the concerns of other people. And you pick up on emotion cues, feel comfortable socially, and of course, recognize the power dynamics in a group or organization. Very important. This helps you also to manage and use your emotions also in a positive way. The fourth attribute of emotional intelligence is the relationship management. And in this case, you know how to develop and maintain good relationships. Some of us, by the way, are struggling with social relationships. Okay. So you know how to develop and maintain good relationships. You're communicating very clearly. You inspire and influence others and work well in a team and manage conflict. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, where are you in terms of these 4 critical attributes? Where are you? That's the question I want to pose to us. Where are you? And I want you to ask yourself, where am I in terms of self-management, in terms of self-awareness, in terms of social awareness, and in terms of relationship management? These 4 attributes will actually combine to actually make you either more emotionally intelligent or less emotionally intelligent. And more reason that explains why some of us, by the way, struggle with our emotions, okay? And of course, different types of uh, emotions, okay? I want us to get to a reflective moment that will help us to understand, why do I behave
Richard, I think we are losing network from your end. I don't know if it's myself alone. Are we hearing Richard? Okay. So let's give him some time as he tries to log back in. I think there has been a challenge with the network. But even as we wait for Richard to connect with us, he has posed the question. I hope you can hear me. Harendra, can you hear me? I can see. Just wave your hand if you can hear me or chat. Oh, thank you. Um, the question that Richard is asking, where are you in terms of the four attributes? And it's important for you to understand where you are because that awareness gives you the capability to start either affirming yourself or working on areas where you feel you're lacking. And as you can see, a lot of what has been presented so far involves yourself plus the external world. Richard has talked about the four attributes, and you notice they're not only just talking about you as a person. There is relationships, there's social connections, and therefore emotional intelligence is very important. So let's hear from the chat. Where do you feel you are, if you're able to do that? Where you are at, and maybe areas where you need to work on so that you can find yourself more emotionally intelligent uh, from where you are sitting at right now. As or if you would like to speak, just raise your hand and I'll see what to do for you. Okay, I can see Stella Denya. I will allow you to talk and say something you seem to want to comment. Are you able to unmute yourself, Stella? Superb. And then we'll also hear from Amon. I can see his hands. He has raised a hand. Please unmute yourself and say something. Uh-huh. As we wait, Mary Wangeshi, there's a question. Can the environment around you affect your emotional intelligence, e.g., family, work, etc.? And I also see that Richard is back. So even as we reflect on that question, Richard, are you available right now? Still not connecting, but yes, Mary, definitely your environment is everything about you. And so it can affect you depending again on the levels of awareness. It can affect you positively or negatively. So if you use the four quadrants that Richard is talking about, are you able to manage your emotions properly? Self management. Are
Lorna, are
you
you able
able?
to hear me?
Yes, superb. I was just responding to welcome back, Richard.
I
Sorry
was
about the network. Eh?
as soon as I talked about the attributes, then the internet decided to test my emotional intelligence.
And where did you find yourself? That was the question you
I
posed.
think self-management. I think
Okay.
self-management. I
All
found
right.
myself there.
All right, all right.
Yes,
Okay,
allow me
okay.
to pick it up, but thank you for just continuing with the session as well.
Thank you, Richard. Just continue. We'll answer to the questions later.
Great, great,
Right,
great.
thank you.
So yeah, so I'd posed a question, where are we at in terms of these four attributes? And of course, we'll be able to have an opportunity to share at some point. How does emotional intelligence affect us? Okay, how does emotional intelligence affect us? In a number of ways. Number one, your performance at school or work. Okay, your performance at school or work. High emotional intelligence can help you navigate the social complexities of the workplace. And this will lead and motivate others and excel in your career. So the more you're emotionally intelligent, it means in terms of self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship management, it will enhance your performance for those that are in school in different levels, but it will also enhance your performance at work. Okay. And that's how important, that's how critical emotional intelligence is. Um, it also affects your physical health. If you're unable to manage your emotions, you're probably not managing your stress either. Okay. And there's a direct relationship between emotional management and stress, by the way. People who experience high levels of stress and even get into depression have a tendency of not being able to manage their emotions very well, use their emotions very well. Perhaps even their social awareness is not high. Perhaps even their relationship management is not a very good. Okay, so if you're not able to manage your emotions, it means probably you're also not managing your stress either, and this can lead to serious health problems. Um, and of course, we know that uncontrolled stress raises blood pressure, suppresses the immune system, increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes, contributes to infertility, and speeds up the aging process. Okay. The first step to improving emotional intelligence is to learn how to manage your stress. Okay. So the stress management techniques comes into play here. That is very, very important. Emotional intelligence can affect your mental health. How? Uncontrolled emotions and stress can also impact your mental health, making you vulnerable to anxiety and depression. If you're not able to understand, get comfortable with, or manage your emotions, you'll also struggle to form strong relationship. Remember, we said relationship management is one of the attributes of emotional intelligence. This in turn can leave you feeling lonely and isolated and further aggravate any mental health problems. Okay. Emotional intelligence can affect your relationship. Can affect your relationship. By understanding your emotions and how to control them, you are better able to express how you feel. Okay. And you're also able to understand how others are feeling. And therefore, if you're able to express how you're feeling and understand, remember when you talk about social awareness, then this plays a critical aspect in your relationship. And of course, this allows you to communicate more effectively and forge a stronger relationship, both at work and in your personal life. Okay. So how important really is our emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence can affect your social intelligence. Very interesting. Okay. Emotional intelligence affecting your social intelligence. And we are saying that being in tune with your own emotions, being in tune, I mean, allow me to keep reminding you, to keep pushing it back to you. I mean, you are, I mean, how in tune, how aware are you with your emotions? Okay. So being in tune with your emotions serve as a social purpose, connecting you to other people and the world around you, and the world around you. And therefore, social intelligence enables you to recognize friend from an enemy. Very interesting, by the way. It helps you to measure another person's interest in you. And it also reduces stress, and it balances your nervous system through social communication and feel loved and happy. I think this is a very important point to take home this evening. Social intelligence. And we're saying that through emotional intelligence, you can actually, realize the social intelligence as well. How, therefore, do we build our emotional intelligence? How can you build your emotional intelligence? How do you grow your emotional intelligence? Okay. It is a process. You don't just wake up and say, I am emotionally intelligent. No, 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 no. It is a process. And because it's a process, there are a number of things that you can do to be able to achieve your emotional intelligence. Okay. Number one, utilize an assertive style of communicating. Utilize an assertive style of communicating. And what is an assertive style of communicating, by the way? Assertive communication goes a long way towards earning respect without coming across as too aggressive or too passive. Being able to communicate your feeling without hurting the other person, without intruding the space of the other person. That is assertive style of communicating. And as you do that, by the way, what are you doing? You're using your emotions very well. Okay? You're managing your emotions very well. You're perceiving your emotions as well very well. Okay? Emotionally intelligent people know how to communicate their opinions and needs in a direct way while still respecting others. You've had people communicating their feeling, but in as much as they are genuine, they end up attacking the personality or the persona of the other person, forgetting about the social empathy. We talked about social awareness, and we said being emotionally intelligent also means that you empathize and you understand the emotions of the other people around you. And this, as we talk about utilizing or using assertive style of communication, it's very important because you'll communicate what you're feeling, but of course, respecting other people. So how many times have you communicated assertively? I leave that to you to also reflect on that. The other way to build or enhance our emotional intelligence is to respond instead of reacting to conflict. Okay, very interesting. Respond instead of reacting to conflict. During instances of conflict, and this conflict could be, it could be interpersonal, it could be an organizational conflict, it could be a group conflict. Let's look at what it means by responding instead of reacting to conflict. The shift completely between responding and reacting. So during instances of conflict, emotional outbursts and feelings of anger are common, very, very common. The emotionally intelligent person knows how to stay calm during stressful situations. Are you one of them, by the way? How do you respond when you are in a conflict, when you're in a disagreement, And of course, sometimes you find yourself overreacting because then of how you perceive your emotion or lack of self-management as well, okay? Or better still, social awareness or relationship management. We have talked about those key attributes. They don't make impulsive decisions. Emotionally intelligent people don't make impulsive decisions that can lead to even bigger problems. They don't. They understand that in times of conflict, the goal is a resolution. I like that statement. The goal is a resolution. And they make conscious choice to focus on ensuring that their action and words are aligned with the others. So emotionally intelligent people in times of conflict, they know the goal is a resolution. And because they know the goal is a resolution, by the way, when you're in these times, of anger, when you're in these times of outburst, what is your intended goal? Sometimes I ask those I interact with, but they, okay, fine, you are angry, you are annoyed with me, and of course, so what is the intended goal? Is the intended goal, finding a solution or maintaining the trouble or maintaining the conflict? Okay. So for you to be more emotionally intelligent, respond instead of reacting to conflict. Utilize active listening skills. Utilize active listening skills. In counseling, we say we listen to understand and not to respond. Okay, my fellow counselors will tell you that and listening is an important skill, is an important life skill. Many a times we listen to respond and not to understand. Okay, while listening, you are listening not just to what somebody is saying, but do you know that we many a times hear and not listen? I may have heard you but not listened to you. Okay, there's a difference between hearing and listening. Your child may be telling you something and will be, nimesikia, assuming or imagining that you have listened, and you have not listened. Okay, so in listening, you're listening to another, and you are listening to three key components. You're listening to the behavior, you're listening to the experience of this person, you're listening to the attitude, the perception of this person. Okay, so in conversations, emotionally intelligent people listen for clarity instead of just waiting for their turn to speak. By the way, there are those people, and that is why you have seen when you have a conflict with, a person known to you, a friend, a spouse, a sibling, or any just person known to you, it turns out to be a shouting match. No. I mean, so you can't clearly understand each other because you're not listening, you're hearing. And as you hear, by the way, many a times you distort what you have heard because you have not understood. Okay, so they make sure they understand what is being said before responding. They also pay attention to the non-verbal details of a conversation. Again, in counseling, we say that we listen to non-verbal communication language, and we say that up to 80% of the non-verbal communication communicates true of what is being said or being observed at that particular point. And that's why to us, observation is a key skill, And therefore, this prevents misunderstanding, allows the listener to respond properly, and shows respect for the person they are speaking to. So utilize active listening skills. Be motivated, my good friends, this evening. Be motivated. Emotionally intelligent people are self-motivated. Find reason to be self-motivated. Don't wait for an external source of motivation, okay? Because then you'll struggle. I mean, those who wait for an external source of motivation, in a number of times, they will feel not accepted, not appreciated, by others. And as you feel that way, you start developing negative feelings because of the negative thoughts about the environment, okay, about people around you, okay? And therefore, the question to ask this evening is, what motivates you as a person, as a person, So the highly motivated you are, the more chance is that you are also emotionally intelligent, okay? So emotionally intelligent people are self-motivated and their attitude motivates others. They set goals and are resilient in the face of challenges. The other way to enhance our emotional intelligence is practice ways to maintain positive attitude. Practice ways to maintain positive attitude. Don't underestimate the power of your attitude, by the way. Don't. I feel like I should be a pastor this evening to preach this word of emotional intelligence. Don't underestimate the power of your attitude. If I was in a physical session, I'll say, people say amen to that statement, okay? A negative attitude easily infects others if a person allows it to. Emotionally intelligent people have an awareness of the moods of those around them and guard their attitude accordingly. It takes me back to my point of social awareness, okay? Social awareness, okay? Emotionally intelligent people have an awareness of the moods of those around them. You can tell, by the way, that in this group, making a joke now is not the right thing, or it is the right thing to make a joke, okay? I sometimes call it emotional wisdom, okay? Emotional wisdom. They know what they need to do in order to have a good day and an optimistic outlook, okay? So practice ways to maintain a positive attitude. Practice self-awareness. Emotionally intelligent people are self-aware and intuitive. They are aware of their own emotions and how they can affect those around them, okay? They also pick up on others' emotions and body language and use that information to enhance their communication skills. Take critique well. Some of us, by the way, we are not very good people of receiving feedback. We are really, really not very good people of receiving feedback. So an important part of increasing your emotional intelligence is to be able to take critique in a positive way, okay? Rather than getting offended or defensive, by the way, high emotional intelligent people take few moments to understand where the critique is coming from. I mean, before you respond back, oh, Nanionea, oh, you're not saying anything good on me, or you think I'm very bad nowadays, or I mean, take a moment. Take a moment and just find the source of this critique. This critique could be an avenue, a chance for you to actually do better. Why are you so quick to criticize this person, to hit back, to talk back, even without understanding? Okay. So how it's affecting others of their own performance, and they can constructively resolve any issue. So taking critique positively is one of the ways to enhance your emotional intelligence. And especially during this period of the pandemic, when, I mean, so many things, because we have been impacted in a number of ways, and sometimes, by the way, we're emotionally burdened, if I have to use that word. So sometimes, humanly speaking, when somebody criticizes you, you feel, no, this one I have to return, and I'll return with equal measure, or even more forceful than what he or she is telling me. Empathize with others, ladies and gentlemen, is another way of enhancing our emotional intelligence. Emotionally intelligent people know how to empathize. They understand that empathy is a trait that shows emotional strength. There's no weakness in empathizing with other people. There's no weakness. Empathy helps them to relate to others on basic human level, and it opens the door for mutual respect and understanding between people with different opinions and situations. And therefore, how can emotional intelligence help me and you deal with COVID pandemic? I've already talked about in my many examples that I was giving, but just in a summary, in a very quick way, as we are coming to an end of my presentation, but still allow us to, after I'm done, my moderator, Lorna, will be able to pick up your questions and be able to answer even as I participate in the same. In the new COVID-19 world, we are all dealing with intense emotions and huge levels of anxiety. This is a fact, okay? These emotions are not bad. They can actually help us if we know how to handle them. And how to handle them? Self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship management, very critical. We have looked at ways to also enhance your emotional intelligence. However, if we let them get out of control, they can paralyze us or even send us into a downward spiral. Okay, I insist that being aware of your emotion. We started by a very looking at a very powerful quote, that when awareness is brought into your emotion, then your life gets more power. I want to leave you that take this home this evening, and bring more awareness into your emotions, because it will give you more power. It will give you more power when there's more awareness in your emotions. Emotional intelligence, it's about trying to remove emotions. It's not about trying to remove emotions from the decision-making process. Let's be very clear on this. Rather, it's about understanding and managing those emotions. I like to call this, and a number of times I've called it, making emotions work for you. Making emotions work for you, not emotion working against you. A number of times we allow our emotions to work against us, and yet we should be in control of our emotions. So in any situation, be it good or bad, we are in a COVID pandemic season where, we have been affected differently. We have been going through numerous challenges, and our emotions have been battered. Our emotions have been injured. We are emotionally injured. nation, if I have to put that way. But most importantly, let's remain emotionally intelligent by making emotions work for us and not against us. Emotional intelligence can also help you and me in our relationship with others. Remember that empathy begets empathy. Very important. And when you take time to carefully listen to your partner, your family, your friends, or your colleagues, when you try to relate to their feelings, they will feel understood. They will definitely feel understood. And when a person feels understood, they are far more likely to reciprocate your efforts and try to be more understanding to you and try to be more understanding to you. I want to leave us with yet another quote as I come to the end of my presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. No, it is not the triumph of your heart over your head. No, it is the unique intersection of both. It is the unique intersection of both. And I wish to end at that point. Allow me to bring in Lorna, who is our moderator, to conclude for us the remaining part. Thank you very much for being very good listeners. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Richard. I am smiling because as you were taking us through the presentation, I kept asking myself several questions, reflecting on whether I exhibit characteristics of an emotionally intelligent person or not. And that is for me to sit down and just try to understand. Um, it was a wonderful presentation, and I must be sure certain that all of us have really gained one or two insights. um, as Richard mentioned earlier, it's not the end of it. It's just the first of many presentations that we do. So a lot of questions coming up from different people, and maybe I would go by those who have raised their hands. I don't know if Raphael still would like to say something because I can see his hand was raised. And also D. Wambua could also want to say something before we continue as we read through the charts. Raphael Zuve, are you there?
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
would want to ask or share something?
Okay, yeah.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to learn that if I'm intelligent, I may not be affected by so many challenges that are affecting us, like the, the issue of jobs are very disturbing. So I wanted just to comment that it came the right time, especially for me and for me even we are help. We are great help in the surrounding because I live in almost slum area here in
Mm-hmm.
class. And so many people are challenged to just see what you can do by sharing. I know it's great help for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your feedback and your comments. We appreciate that.
You've had
Yes,
you've
I
had
have heard you. Richard, you've heard him?
you've had
Yes. Although you're
Yes,
great.
I have.
Yes, we have. We have.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. There was somebody else. Wambua, D. Wambua, are you there? D. Wambua. Okay. Even as we wait for Wambua, Maybe we can look at what has been posted. Richard, there's a question here from
Mm.
one of the attendees. What is the difference between critic and critique? Critic spelled Critic and critique with the QUE under the question and
Come
answer.
again, Lona. What's the difference between?
Critic,
Let me try and look.
go into the Q
Mhm.
and A. Yeah, into the Q and A, you'll find it posted.
Okay, I've taken note of that. Maybe I'll respond to that. Let's go ahead and observe more other questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through the chat. Some of them I was also responding to. If you feel you still need our response, kindly just raise it in the chat. And Richard, kindly expound on the quote. I'm struggling to understand it, please. And I wonder which quote. Allow me to mention
Yes.
which quote is this that you would want us to respond to, Janet? Janet Oiro? Okay. The last one. Richard, the last quote. There's someone asking if you can expound on it. That is, it's very important to understand the emotional intelligence is not off heart over head. It is the unique intersection of both. By David Caruso.
Is this what is being asked? This
Correct.
quote?
That's the one. That's the one.
Okay. Okay, I'll try to simplify it. I'm trying to just get some very simple words to help us understand this quote. When we say that it is important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence, I know there are people who will sometimes confuse the IQ with EQ. You know, IQ, intelligence quotient, and emotional quotient. Okay. I mean, these are two different things, and many a times, even when you are intellectually gifted, okay, um, sometimes you could be struggling. You have seen people who with very high IQ struggling with EQ, emotional quotient. So, quote is trying to help us understand that is not the triumph of the heart over the head. I mean, none of them, will replace the other. Okay, the two come together. The two work together. The EQ, and the EQ work together. So, if you are gifted, or rather, if you are emotionally intelligent, it does not replace the need of also work on your IQ. Okay, I hope I'm trying to be very simple that none of this replaces the other. Okay, none of this replaces the other. Of course, EQ, emotional intelligence, is the matter of the heart. IQ is the matter of the head.
Right,
Okay,
right, right.
matters of the heart, emotional intelligence. Matters of the head, the IQ. Okay, and therefore none of them replaces the other, but they work together to make us, mentally fit,
Okay.
people.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. So, in short, you're saying that one must have a good balance for the matters of the head and the heart. I think that's the message I'm getting through. Yeah. Creating that balance. Okay. Richard, I hope you're still there. I'm seeing you moving. And then there's a comment here just thanking you for the priceless knowledge from Harendra. and also mentioning that it is time to evaluate the self. I do agree. And also time for each one of us to go out to the field and reach out to all who are near and dear, including our politicians. Um, I'll read it as he said, our so called teachers, because we see most of them derailing our nation. And really, it is very sad when I tend to agree with what you're saying, Harendra. Not to be judgmental, but there are certain instances where we come across what we have you have just mentioned, and really it's about time that we who are trained professionally to help people manage their EQ, EI, so that they can respond and stop being overreactive. Because a lot of times we find that some people in some instances, because they're not very comfortable or conversant with what's going on, they tend to react. And so this would be the great day if we can rally together and help our country and our youth who are coming up. And then Richard, this one I'd like you to answer. How do you handle a person who has low emotional intelligence, who is reactive and not responsive? Okay, we seem to have lost Richard again, or he's there. Richard, did you get that question? Am I speaking to myself or what? I wonder.
Sorry, you can repeat the
Sorry.
question. My internet again
Yeah,
was testing my EQ.
today is the day. Sorry about that, Richard. I'm empathizing with you. So, how do you handle a person who has low emotional intelligence and is reactive and not responsive?
Mm. Um, I like saying that sometimes you can do much. One of the ways to support this person, if you have tried in your own capacity and it is not working, refer them to a professional helper, who will be able to help them process. Sometimes it's because of the dual relationship that they are not responding. Okay, so I encourage that you refer this person, continue empathizing with this person regardless of the situation. That will be very, very important.
Okay, thank you, Richard. I like this one. What if your colleagues take your emotional intelligence as weakness?
I had already said in one of my statements that there's no weakness in empathizing with the emotions of other people. And I think those who have been able to listen to this presentation, you now will want to even spread this message to other people, that one of the ways of becoming emotionally intelligent is emotional empathy. It's being emotionally empathetic to other people, and therefore there's no weakness in being emotionally empathetic to other person.
Okay, okay. Um, we'll answer a few more. We've run into your time, but please just allow us to do that because we started off pretty late. Does parenting affect how well one has better emotional intelligence?
Donna, you're breaking. Does parenting
Affect how well one has better emotional intelligence?
social factors related to parenting will either make one more emotionally intelligent or not, depending on what is, the type of parenting and the dynamics. So yes, parenting because then it affects our emotions. Okay. The different types of parenting will affect different people differently.
Mhm.
So it really yes can affect our emotional intelligence, and therefore is also being aware that I'm being affected, and what am I doing to be able to deal with this. And that's why we emphasizing on self-awareness. Self-awareness.
Okay. I saw some questions also. Maybe let me look at those. Is it possible to successfully have both uh, EQ and IQ?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And that's why I said, uh, the two do not interchange or play the role of the other. No. So it is possible, yes, you can have high levels of IQ and EQ.
Okay. And somebody is also kind of responding to that. They say, but EQ is more important. Inability to relate well with others will stop all progress and lack of teamwork. I don't know what you say.
Is it a comment somebody saying EQ?
It's a comment, yeah, yeah. Is more important. And the reasoning behind her statement is that inability to relate well with others will stop the progress or and lack of teamwork. I think that's what I'm getting it.
Mhm.
Um, we are having a lot of people commenting, just saying thank you. The session has been very therapeutic. I feel relieved. Richard, how can you handle a senior officer with low emotional intelligence, yet you are a junior officer? Wow.
I
Yeah.
may not really advise how, because relationships are dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I may not tell you the best way to go about it. Sometimes you may not do anything about it because then this is your senior. Uh, but for you, I think what I can add is being social aware, and of course, I want to add the word emotional empathy. So you can only empathize with your senior, because then that will help you be able to use your emotions well and to manage your emotions well as well, and to also enhance your relationship with them. So for you, what you can do is to be emotionally empathic, and if that will help you be able to deal with his moods, because remember we say that being aware of the moods of the others will also help you to enhance your intelligence as well, emotional and social intelligence. So that will be important.
Okay. Right. We have now gone beyond the hour, and I hope we are not locking anybody out. However, we can be reached through our social platforms. And I want to take this opportunity, Richard, if you'll allow me to do so, to
Yeah.
just thank you personally for a very wonderful presentation. And this presentation has given me a lot of insight and also affirmed me in several ways. So I hope you are also going to experience the same as you walk your journey towards becoming emotionally intelligent. You realize that it's not something that just happens out of nowhere. There are a lot of factors that affect being emotionally intelligent, and therefore it's a lot of hard work. And so it is not a tick sheet where it's a scale where you're trying to balance out. It is awareness. It's awareness in various aspects. So I want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, Amani Counseling Center and Training Institute, and also our listeners, our attendees. Thank you so much for being present and for participating. If we are locking anybody out, kindly know that you can reach us. Richard, maybe you can pull up that slide where we have our contacts
I,
so that we can also share with our participants. And we shall continue to be sending you invites. Share them widely and make time to attend. As Richard mentioned earlier, this is just one of the monthly webinars that we do. And you notice we don't charge anything for it. So also let us know in your feedback what else would you like to hear from us so that we can prepare presentations which are useful. And many of your questions are alluding to how do we help, how do we deal with, and that is why the counseling center is there. Amani is there to help you, not just to be self aware, but also to manage the issues that you're finding difficulty in dealing with. And so please do not shy away from coming in for sessions, because that is one of the things that we help you do, to empower you so that you can operate at that level where you feel you're doing things by responding to situations and not reacting to situations. So I would want to leave it at that. Richard, are you able to pull it, or should I try and pull
Yeah,
it?
I'll pull it up. The contacts.
Yes.
There. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, thank you very
The different
much.
regional offices are there. Hello?
Yes.
Hey.
I'm not seeing it, Richard.
The contacts are here. How to contact us? Are you able to see?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Let me check whether we can put it up again.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
so you're not able to see the slide.
No, it's not there.
Okay. Now,
Right. Go back one slide, please.
there we are.
Right. So we have several locations. We have our money at the head office at Mbagathi Way, on Mbagathi Way, opposite Jonathan Globe. We have our central business district, the CBD Nairobi. We also have a branch in Mombasa, and then there's Nyeri. We have an office in Kisumu, Ugunja, and Siaya. And those offices take care of the regions surrounding them. So if there are any persons who are not able to walk into Nairobi or connect with the CBD and Mbagathi, then we are also covered, even across Machakos and all those other regions. So please, those are our locations. Richard, please share our contacts. Okay, so we can be reached through our website, our Facebook page, our Instagram, and Twitter. Please communicate with us, give us your feedback, and we will appreciate your comments. And we hope to be able to do this every month. And again, hope that you will get insights from what we do. So allow us to end. Richard, do you have a word, or we can end?
No. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining in our webinar. We'll continue interacting with you. Please feel free to reach us out for individual help, or better still, just a conversation on how we can better these conversations going forward. Feel free to reach us. We can partner, we can be partners. I'm sure some of you work in different organizations where we can partner with Amani to just continue offering this service of mental health. And therefore, as partners, feel free to reach us out. As individuals, feel free to reach us out. And let's keep engaging and learning from one another. From my end, I think that's it. And I want to wish us a very, very blessed weekend, even as we prepare for Madaraka Day on Tuesday. See you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Have a blessed week.